Okay.
So no giving up any deep, dark secrets. I'm just joking.
Okay, the stream has started, and I think you want me to
Okay.
post it
Yes,
on the
please.
Talking Peace website.
Our Western New York Peace Center website. Yeah, absolutely. That would be so great. Oh, and we want to turn off our phones.
Twitch has accepted
That's
the
another
stream.
thing. Thank you. So that the phones.
YouTube has
no
accepted the
ringing.
stream. Facebook has accepted the stream. I'm going to ask Facebook for the link. Facebook has given me the link. I'm going to put it on the Peace Center page.
I'm just looking at your T-shirt.
It was
Very apropos.
Yeah, it was a gift from Maine when we were at the UN, and did a lot
Very
of
nice.
stuff with them.
Grateful. So any minute now, and then it will be counting down, and then
It
you'll
has
see
been
that I'm gonna-
posted to the Peace Center page.
Wonderful. Yeah, so towards the end, I'll sort of take
Okay.
back, rein it in so that we end, we
Yeah.
want to end at like, I want to start closing it down around 56 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Ready to start the show?
Everybody ready?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay,
Look at
good.
the timer
Yes,
on the
please.
screen. When the timer
Yep.
says on the air, you're on the air.
Great. Thanks. Welcome to Talking Peace with the Western New York Peace Center, being recorded here at Think Twice Radio in the home of the future, also the home of our friend and producer, Richard Wicca. Thanks, Richard. And thank you, too, to our friends at Buff State at WBNY, Buffalo's original alternative radio station, being taped out and broadcast out of Buff State. So thank you, Buffalo State University. And when I think of thankfulness, I do think of the fact that we are on stolen Haudenosaunee land, that we are on the land of the Seneca or the Inundawaka people. And I think of them, and also of people who were, enslaved people who came to this country against their will, who were, dragged here, brought here in the Middle Passage under such hardship and trauma. And in spite of all of the hardship and oppression that people of color, of our brothers and sisters have suffered, there's still such a spirit of thankfulness and acknowledging of the power of the Creator. And the Haudenosaunee start every event with the thankfulness, the Thanksgiving address, which really thanks all the people who are there, is thanking Mother Earth for providing us everything we need for a good life here if we didn't keep messing it up. And, is so thankful for all of the animals, the plants and animals of every kind that make this creation as beautiful as it is, all the things in the sky world, and the Creator and the love that animates it all. And so after that, then they would say, Nyahweh, and the people say no. So, Nyahweh.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's like very similar to Ashe also. So this thankfulness, and we've heard it before, gratitude is the attitude. But meanwhile, a lot of work is also needed. And a lot of work is needed on our topic for today, which is 80 years of failed nuclear disarmament. We are approaching the 80-year mark of 80 years since the bombings, the U.S. bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And that's what we have our two wonderful guests here today. So I'm going to say guest means friend of the show, part of the Peace Center, part of the Western New York Peace Center. So we have, first I'll say introduce Alexica Perez, who hasn't been on the show actually before, but who has been an intern at the Western New York Peace Center since May, is with Fordham University's online MSW program in her specialist year. So welcome, Alexica.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh,
All
we're
righty.
so glad to have you on. And last but not least, never least, is the radio king, Jim Anderson. Now, it's been a while since you've been on the show because
Yeah,
I know
true
you're
that.
so busy, and it's hard to get you on a Wednesday night when we're taping this show. So we're grateful to have you on.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. It's like it's always like coming home.
Oh, well, of course it is. And I want to say, of course, Jim, not only is Jim the former board chair at the from the Western New York Peace Center, and the only board chair that was ever made, what do we call it? That you have that status of being
Like emeritus.
it's like emeritus. It's sort of emeritus. We'll call it that. We'll call it that since I can't remember the right word. So that, but also as a president of Peace Action New York State, of which we are a proud member, chapter, and also on the steering committee of Peace Action National, and I want to say that the Peace Action groups are all really the origins of peace action is in the anti-nuclear movement.
Truly.
So we'll talk about that. But before we do that, I just want us to go around, as we usually do, about what are the values that we think of in relation to the nuclear issues that we face. So nuclear weapons in particular, and nuclear programs in general. So Alexica, and we'll just go around like that.
The values, can you explain a little bit more about what?
Oh, so all I mean by values is like, well, I'll start because I don't usually start. I usually finish, but I just say like a value. I think of the values that I almost always think of, which is I think of Reverend Dr. King talked about unarmed truth and unconditional love, which he said would have the final word in reality. And so I do think of unarmed truth and unconditional love. I think of truth because it is very important for people to talk about the actual facts about nuclear weapons and nuclear power and the dangers. The indigenous wisdom that we're just talking about was leave the yellow cake in the ground. Don't touch it. Don't mess with it. Don't do anything with it. So truth, that's one thing. The truth, the actual facts of the matter, and which there's all kinds of other facts that we want to share. Lots of facts, not limited to just the chosen facts. And love means we're doing it in love, that it's really it's because we love people, it's because we care about the people and the world and the creation that we fight against this insanity of having nuclear bombs that we cannot use, we should not make, and that are just costing us in every kind of way that we'll be talking about. So that's an example of the values. So the values that you think of in connection.
I think about similar things, is that, these are dangerous weapons and we should not, no country should have access to these weapons. And I think about, when I'm thinking about nuclear weapons, only 9 countries have nuclear weapons right now. Right. It's not a pie in the sky type of situation. It's a doable thing to global disarmament. So that's what I think about. I also think about education as well, and like helping people understand, because I think that when we say nuclear disarmament, I think that people get overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. And the more that we share, the more stories that we share, the more we help each other understand that this is such a crisis, that more people will start, realizing that it is possible. So those are the values for me.
Wonderful. Yes, thank you. So that doableness, actually doing things, and right-sizing them to what they are. Yeah. Right? And also education. So thank you. Thank you. Those are great. And Jim?
Well, I certainly think of the love and care for humanity,
mm-hmm.
and that the value for me is people and planet first.
Right.
And
yes.
that none of humanity should suffer at the greed of those who want profit and more money. And we know that's what we're up against. We have to. One of the other values that you talked about, education, is getting people to understand it's not a game show. It's not about get rich quick or fill up your pockets. It's really about all of us sharing the care of the planet and the care for each other at home and abroad. People, regardless of their shade, their eyes, their whatever, love humanity, and that's the first thing. And you know what? To do that, it will put you at odds with somebody who will look just like you, and I'm saying, so be ready for that, because it's not based on because you have a lot of other people who look like you. It's based on loving humanity, and if you ain't loving everybody, better check yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, you're so right. So that those are so important, those values, and it's really, it makes me think of one of my favorite chants that I learned from you, or that I think we've used it in different ways, but that one, we are the people. 2, we love each other. 3, we will not let them wreck our planet. So yeah.
Yeah, that's and
Here,
and
we got to wish when we do that, right? Because when you say the same thing at the same time.
Okay.
So I think we could imagine some wishes that we can use.
True that.
Well, so let's go. First of all, for people who may not know, let's go around a little bit on the history and the 80 years. So, Alexica, if you want to just start with whatever facts you want to share about what, let's say, what happened, what has happened in terms of the nuclear program.
Yeah. Feel
Starting
a little
from
bit
the beginning. It's a
little
hard.
on the spot.
I got your back.
Yeah, will you take it over for me? Sorry.
I got your back.
Thank you.
Oh, now, dude, I'm
so-
gonna let you
Oh, my
start.
gosh.
I'm gonna let you get out there. You ain't
Yeah.
falling from the
Well,
sky.
Yeah.
First of all, it's Nagasaki is on the 9th, right?
Yes, Nagasaki's on the 9th. I am aware of what happened in Hiroshima. Actually, when I was in grade school, I read a book about Hiroshima, and that was the first time that I had knowledge about what happened during World War II. So that's my first experience with learning about nuclear bombs and the aftermath of the bombings.
Was it the one of the 1,000 cranes?
That one and an actual book called Hiroshima.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my first experience with kind of learning about what happened. And it was in middle school. So it wasn't like as a high school assignment. It was something that was introduced to me early on in my childhood.
Give us a roundabout kind of year.
I want to say it was
Just roundabout.
2003.
Okay.
Yeah, 2003.
Right.
Around that time because
Right.
I was in middle school.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's such a lot for young people to really fathom.
Yeah.
And and the thing about it is not having to remember all the parts is key points. And
Yeah.
I think that's where, through the years, the movement has failed to do that.
Yeah.
Right now, within the peace movement, there's the focus on aiming towards young people.
Yeah.
Many people aim at young people because they're like, oh man, bodies. But, young or old can't do anything. They can't do what they don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned about the history,
Yeah.
the deficit that was withheld from many to not understand how important Hiroshima and Nagasaki are and its relevance to today is what we're facing a problem with now.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
it slid, pushed aside,
Yeah.
and I always say, even at that time, because when Hiroshima was bombed, look, you had those who were of a strong heart and a clear mind saying that the reason
Yeah.
it was done because these were people of color.
Yeah.
And
Right.
and you think about that, which in that time was a very racist time.
Yeah.
You know, some
Right.
people act like it was racism light. It was a hell of a time. And
Yeah.
so there was a lot of distrust.
Right.
Yeah.
There was a lot of siloism.
Mm-hmm.
There was a whole lot of organization hustling each other. Nobody want to share how much money they get or who they're getting the money from. You know, it was a rat race. We weren't
Yeah.
as organized as sometimes people try and make it seem.
Yeah.
But the need gave rise to varying efforts, and as it was then is how it is now. The freshness of the more youthful wave
Yeah.
is what brought in that new essence.
Yeah.
Because the young folks who were clear-minded and focused
Right.
wouldn't turn around. And it wasn't because they were just brilliant on their own, it's because they had real elders who worked with them.
Yeah.
Because struggle is intergenerational,
Yeah.
not, well, young folks time to do this, you know.
Yeah.
And so I'm just saying, it just shows why there's this deficit when you're dealing with racism, the absence of information. Look, if they can't get it
Yeah.
in school,
Yeah.
where they going to get it in the community?
Yeah.
And stuff. And then I'll shut up on this because that kind of slides away. Then when Vietnam pops up on the scene, when Dr. King speaks on it,
Yeah.
right away, the establishment ain't going to have that. So what do? Because in that time, organizations want money. You call all the groups, say, hey, look, y'all got to talk to Martin. He messing up. I'm trying to get y'all more money. That's the hook. Because
Right.
every organization
Right.
want money. And so when it come to that, they're going to tell you, if it was you, Alexica, you got to shut up.
Yeah.
You're saying the wrong thing because they think it on the money and they got duped.
Yeah.
And we did not talk about the relevance of our foreign policy and peacemaking for, I tell you, in the black community, not deeply.
Yeah.
And I know not in many other communities.
Right.
And that's
Yeah.
why you have these two bodies, the peace movement and the social justice movement. Hell, there's only one movement.
Right.
The
Yeah.
movement for liberation of the
Right.
people. Somebody
Right.
said liberation for one and liberation for all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think part of it is people don't want back to truth, you
Yeah.
know, to the information to get out. So it's like, oh, what they did to us when they, you know, Pearl Harbor, it was so
Yeah.
terrible. Well, it was terrible. And, but however, it was not unprovoked because
Right.
we had been bombing them.
Yeah.
So that we don't want to
Yeah.
get that discussed.
Yeah.
Also, here's the U.S. Want to be the white, you know, the white knight on the horse or something, and be that we think we're some kind of noble, but we're the ones who use a nuclear bomb and the only ones who have ever used a nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
And so the Japanese people, they stopped having an army because they were, you know, and that
Yeah,
was
that
part of
Article
our
9.
doing. So,
Yep.
but they went without that. But they also, because they saw firsthand, they suffered that. They are still suffering that. There's still fallout from that.
That's the
Yeah.
whole point. That's the whole
And-
point of the anniversary, this 80th
Yeah.
anniversary. Because,
So-
yeah, go ahead.
So I know, and it just that we don't want to address, you know, the issues that are the issues at hand, and back to what you said about the money. So the people who are running these programs and the power that is amassed with that is what people, you know, even though we have so many more nuclear weapons that we could blow the world up, how many times could we end life on Earth? That's how we have, and now they still want to have a new generation of nuclear weapons that is snazzier and maybe, and they talk about getting usable nuclear weapons that are a little smaller. Of course, they have bigger and bigger ones,
Yeah.
but they also want smaller and smaller ones. So, and they have still used depleted uranium. That's what the Gulf War syndrome was. that they were using radioactive depleted uranium as bomb casings and everything like that. And not only are the people there being afflicted with, all this cancer and death from that depleted uranium that is littering the Middle East and everything and especially in Iraq, but they also, the U.S. soldiers that were over there were also exposed. So, that's the truth of the history of it. And so then what's going on today, it becomes even crazier. So if we want to talk about the costs, it's sort of implicit in what we've been saying so far. But so some of the costs that you think of, if you want to share just a thought, just what, in terms of, let's say, emotional cost. Yeah. If you want to talk about that.
Well, I was going to say the cost of people, the cost of environment, right? So when we're talking about this, I think that essentially we have to talk about the planet, right? But it's also about the people, right? I always think about, when I think about nuclear weapons, I think about, World War III is going to be fought with nuclear weapons, and World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones, right? That's what they usually say. So when I think about nuclear bombs, I think about the future and what the cost of having these nuclear weapons would be.
You got the right thought on that, because a nuclear weapon will cause so much damage. People can't even envision. In our mind, we fantasize about what it would look like, but our minds will only allow us to see it to a limited portion where we somehow live to see what it does, and it doesn't affect us because we're just seeing it happen. Yeah. It ain't going to be like that.
No.
And what it can do, if one has ever been around the explosion of a bomb with napalm, how it sucks the oxygen out of the air, what it does to your body. The level of this weapon is beyond what we've been using. Yeah. Right. And it's been the small clarion voice of the Habakashaws, who have been the ones who have been the most studious in sharing and warning the world about how horrible these weapons are. And they got no bomb. They got no money. Right. They got nothing but their small voice in there. Many of them, and its 80th anniversary, are about to transition off the planet. They're dying off. Right. Yeah. And they're frail. They're very sick. But they remain staunch in warning the world that these are ungodly weapons and we got to get rid of them. Right. And there's action already in play. Right. And many people don't know. People don't know that there is a treaty against the prohibition of nuclear weapons. Yeah. A treaty on the prohibition of nuclear weapons. Right. And that requires nations that have them to start downsizing to eventually abolishing them. Now, some people make you think, oh, no, we can't get rid of nuclear weapons. We do have a problem. We got to get rid of the weapons, but with like all nuclear waste, where can you waste it? Where are you going to put it? Right. Whose land you going to take? Right. You see? And then when you're talking about modernizing the weapons you already got, that's crazy politics, and those are greedy leaders that would push for that. Right. And what the people got to understand is that the money that it will take is the money of the people. Right. Yeah. The discretionary budget of the U.S., over anywhere from 59 to 61% of the budget goes to the Pentagon for all these various defense contracts. And now we begin to see how complex and twisted and how double-crossed the people have been. Yeah. So we look at some of our educational institutions, which thanks to many of you young people who are pushing back on campus, saying divest, because many of them invest in defense companies, weapons companies, that we ain't using them here. And you have to say, just like they say about building the building? If you build it, they will come. If you build a weapon, somebody is going to use it, or
Yeah.
there will be an accident. And why do you need all those weapons around if you're not using them?
Yeah.
It's a diabolical, dastardly, whacked out situation we
Right.
find ourselves in. But people have to remain focused and then do our duties. If we love one another, if we care about the planet we on, we can't let them wreck it.
No.
And
Right.
and this is what the commemoration is going to remind us. It hasn't changed.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even allow those who were engaging in war last year to even attend.
Yeah.
There's a change this year, but we'll probably talk about that
Right,
later.
right. We will talk
Yeah.
about that. You're just reminding me of this wonderful pen, this item. Now, for those of you on the radio, you can't see it, but I'm going to say that what this pen is, it's a red pen that has a pull-down, drop-down kind of menu, little piece of paper that you can pull out, and it tells us that the global military spending of the U.S., which I know the basic figures, is that we are spending, almost the majority, not quite, let's say it's 40-some percent of the spending on nuclear weapon, not nuclear, I'm sorry, any weapons, military spending is what we spend, whereas for China, which is the next one, is a tiny fraction. It's about spending about maybe a fifth as much as we spend, and then everybody else very much less. Russia is even, less than half, maybe a
Yeah.
third of what China's spending, and the rest of them, it's almost pittance. So that's
Yeah.
one thing. And then the other thing I was going to say is then on the other side, you see federal spending, the discretionary budget, and you see that, well, we already know it's not just, so Fear Inc. gets the lion's share. It gets very, very much the majority of the money. And so that means, it's back to what Eisenhower said, that every aircraft carrier, every, all the military equipment and all of that is a theft from every hungry family.
Yeah.
It's
That's
a
right.
theft from every community that needs to
Money
fix
for
their
housing,
bridge,
money
their
for health care,
Yeah,
money
all of
for
it.
education,
Yeah.
money for establishing good, clean
Right.
energy,
Yeah.
buildings and jobs. We could do better, but we
Yes.
have the greedy who have occupied our political
Right.
ranks. Many of them don't hold seats, but they feed the money into politicians who will surrender their statesmanship, if they even had any, for
Yeah.
a few dollars. We can't even look.
Right.
Right now, this issue around what this anniversary is talking about, it wants
Yeah.
to end war.
Right.
And look what we just,
That slogan. Why don't you give the slogan? Right?
now you got to help.
You said no Hiroshima.
Oh yeah, they say
no more Hiroshimas,
no more Hiroshima, no
No
more
more.
Nagasaki, no more war, and that's their
Right.
chant.
Right.
And they mean it, from the youngest to the oldest.
Yeah.
They're young folks. Oh, talk about knowing about it. And
Yeah.
one of the things is the difference is, in New York at the so-called 9/11,
Memorial.
yeah, in the little museum, you go in with all this outer kind of hyped up space. If you go in to the Memorial Museum in Hiroshima, you not only are you seeing deep truth and wounds, I mean, you're seeing bodies that have burned, that melted in the heat. You're seeing the displacement and creation of so many orphaned children.
Yeah.
You're seeing pain that was so painful it couldn't be expressed. Look, you find little writings and stuff. They have a simulation of showing how the bomb is dropping from the air. They're showing the lay of the land. People going out don't know nothing.
Yeah.
They don't hear nothing. And then when it hit, all kind of political statements from Obama and other world leaders are joining on the wall. I mean, authentic, documented stuff.
Right.
So-called agreements that have been made. And when you walk through that, you don't come out the same. And you in fact, you need a whole nother day in there just to
Process.
Right.
and it's so important. If I hope if we ever finally takes a group to Japan,
Right. We've talked about that.
yeah, and
Yes.
it's going to happen. We claimed it. There were changes that, COVID changed opportunities, which changed the market because we don't have the big funds, but we can do this. People, not only in Japan, but everywhere. The world is there,
Yeah.
and even now, you got Gaza, you got Israel want to be there. They want to be there this year. Some people are like, well, they shouldn't be there after all of what they've done in Gaza. Well, this is where the political twisting at the higher levels that go on to force something to try and because this ain't the people who are organizing the kind of rallies and conferences we do. That's not necessarily them as being, the forces that bring it about. But I hope that if Israel shows up there, I hope they get the same kind of greeting that T-Rump got when he showed up somewhere and they booed him and stuff. And, you went on him and scolding and calling them and telling them what they should do. See if they want to get right or want to come back again. But we're in a great moment. The work that we're all doing is as exhausting as it can be, but with us knowing enough to do self-care and get others to do it, but knowing we must do this work and keep encouraging, our race are growing. And young people who know some of the terribleness want to know more, and now they want to be involved.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and we need it.
That's why Camp
Because
Peace Sprint
it's
so
like,
good.
well, thank you. That actually we didn't talk about nuclear very much, really at all. So there's just so much to cover right now, and it's really overwhelming. And the thing about nuclear, I think a lot of times people feel like it's no use. It's no use. It's so big and it's so remote and it's so sort of out of sight, out of mind because it doesn't get discussed. But we were just checking before. It's like 66 billion being spent on the nuclear program this year alone. Yeah. And there's plans for this new resurgence or re-sprucing up or whatever they want to do with the nuclear things.
Yeah.
Is so expensive and so crazy because we need, there's an agreement and the rest of the world has passed it. That Treaty for the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons that was passed January 22nd of 22. And so it's over 90 countries that have signed on.
Yeah.
And it's approaching that many who've ratified it. So that's the vast majority. It's a majority of countries. So the ones who aren't into it are, of course, the nuclear countries.
Yeah.
And the nuclear countries includes now Israel, even though it has no business. There was never any agreement, but they do have nuclear weapons, and they shouldn't have them. And neither should anybody, and nor should they have some multiple of how many times you could blow up the earth. We have by far the most.
Yeah, they say
The
Israel
West-
is under some kind of what they call impunity,
Yeah,
where
the
they don't have
impunity,
to.
right.
Yeah, and see, and they want to act like they got this nuclear stuff down. That they don't have it down because if one nuclear weapon does so much damage, what the heck do you need thousands of them for?
Right,
Yeah, just sit
exactly.
there.
And the money.
It's
That's what I say.
exactly.
The
The money.
opportunity cost. That's what the economic term I studied
Right.
economics. They
And-
call it opportunity cost is the cost of what you would have done if you didn't do that.
Dig it.
So,
Yeah.
if I go out to dinner here, the opportunity cost is I could have gone over to dinner there or had dinner at a friend's or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It's whatever you didn't do. So the
Mhm.
money we spend and the time and energy, it's not just the money. It's all the
Yeah.
person power and everything that goes into it that is back to it's taking away from all our other needs. And the thing is it's such a cost also just in the preparation. I wish Agnes Williams was on this show because she would talk of Agnes Williams, Seneca or Anandawaka, and the leader really of the Indigenous Women's Initiative. And she always talks, and I want to recognize August 9th as also Indigenous Peoples Day. UN declared Indigenous Peoples Day. And she would always say, that the indigenous people are at every stage of the nuclear chain and dying of cancer at a rate higher than anywhere. We in Western New York have all kinds of nuclear waste. It was just, discussed about the
Love Canal?
yeah, well, near Love Canal,
Yeah.
the Manhattan Project nuclear waste. So the Love Canal was a different kind of also chemical waste that was another
Yeah.
devastating thing to whole communities. But so
Yeah.
is this nuclear waste. And so at West Valley, which is in the process of being cleaned up and not very efficiently and not as thoughtfully for the indigenous people because, there's still, it isn't in an enclosed space. So the nuclear waste is sort of blowing around with the wind and being the rain is bringing it into Cattaraugus Creek, which is nothing new.
And see, and then you add to that, here you got a double cross by the mayor of New York State, Kathy Hochul, in her little bait and switch move,
Right.
as it relates to the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act.
Right.
It's the law.
Yeah.
Right.
She want to ignore it. She want to ignore it to the whole point because all that deals with clean energy and renewable energy, and she wants to invest in nuclear energy, which is not clean, renewable energy.
Nothing clean
And
about it.
no, nothing
It's the
about
worst.
and yes, it can lead to the whole thing of developing nuclear weapon. We don't need to be developing nuclear energy because it is not a friend of the people.
Right.
And this is where even in the climate movement are going to have to get up to speed. When they did the hearings on the energy last year or year before last, and they're going around the state,
Right.
all the gas companies were asking for more money investment in nuclear energy. All the climate people were
Cha-ching.
trying to get the CLCPA moved through and get the funds in there, but they didn't hit on that nuclear energy. And what do you got now? You got a governor who wants to spend money on that without spending money to follow the law under the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act. And this is what I'm saying. People have to see the connection. So you think the whole discussion we've been having about nuclear weapons have nothing to do with the investment in nuclear energy? The only people who want to do that is these big so-called defense companies, the military-industrial complex, because as we said, that's where the money. Make the weapons. We don't need them. We got nowhere to get rid of the old ones. What we going to do with them? Well, they're going to pay somebody to take them in their country, somebody who's willing to undermine their people. Right now, when we look at all the issues, our people here seem to forget they're connected to this one issue surrounding around war. Immigration, people coming here, not so much because they love here, but if we're dropping bombs in their land, testing all these various chemicals in their waters to where they can't raise a family, they got to go somewhere. And we want to act like, if our money can go around the world, people should be able to go around the world.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Then we look at, and again, I just mentioned about those who are concerned about renewable energy and clean energy. We cannot let this governor lead us down a death path investing in nuclear energy. And we got to do as much as we can to get those who don't understand. Yeah, it's important. You want more money for education, housing, health care, whatever. The monies we need are being siphoned off, and we're being duped by politicians who won't serve our interests. And I'm going to tell you the truth. Even right now, as we hear everybody want to act like they want to try and help Gaza, they're arriving a little too late and it's not genuine. And I particularly, I hope I don't get you in trouble, I just want to say Congressman Tim Kennedy has been AWOL in speaking to constituents about foreign policy, and particularly on bills that he has to vote on without knowing what his constituents feel and think. He don't even provide any information. And it's a shameful on him. And I would add our senators too, that so many people have had to die before the world is saying, and that's only a statement. We don't see the action yet. And people, don't let yourself off, because if we really care about the planet, we need to care about each other at home and abroad. You need to stand with Gaza, and we need to make sure our politicians do what they can to help at this moment. I'm sorry to go a little bit off, but this is all connected.
Yeah.
This is what they're talking about in them.
This is where our being the greatest purveyor of violence in the world, as Reverend Dr. King said, is just proven by the actual figures of the money that is spent. The money that is spent, the 900 bases that we have around the world, the many multiples of nuclear warheads that we have, many, many more than any other nuclear armed country, which are very few. And then those other countries are just the recipients of a Mexican standoff, if they call it, if you want to call it that, or whatever you want to call it, where you have a something pointed at your threat, a gun pointed at your head. I want to say too, that nuclear waste, I don't think we really address this. I think most people know it, but maybe not everyone knows that nuclear waste has a half-life of, is it a 500,000 years, or is it? I have a problem with decimal points sometimes. Is it like? I can't even remember. It's an unfathomable amount. Many.
That's right.
It's hundreds of generations that will live with the nuclear waste, and in the ignorance of what happens when if there's an accident. You should see John Oliver did a very good thing on just our near misses where it could have been a nuclear catastrophe. When Fukushima went down, that was a problem all around the world, and that was just a small problem. It wasn't an explosion. It was just an overheating. So when things go wrong, it's so problematic. So the costs are incredible. So I just want to so let's talk, Alexica, if you would talk about the event that's planned for August 9th.
Yes,
Please.
so we're going to be having a rally at Bidwell Park on August 9th. We're going to start at 11:30 with a sign-making party, and then at 12, we're going to start our event. We're going to have people talking about and in commemoration of the 80th anniversary of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. We're going to talk about how it affects us today, because we're still living in a world where nuclear weapons are still had by 9 countries. So if you're interested in joining us, we welcome everyone to come and, just share your truth and why we should call for global disarmament of nuclear weapons.
Right.
I love it. It's
Yeah.
like
Thanks.
a song to me. I love
Yes,
it.
yes, yes.
It really,
Yeah.
It's
and
so great.
folks, as you hear us, I mean, this is what you got to let it get into you.
Yeah.
These things that you got to care about people and planet so much that you really mean it, that you're not going to let them mess it up on us.
Linda,
You
or
got
turn us
children in here.
around.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna let
That's
them-
right.
nobody
See,
turn me around.
And you know, you can't brag about doing anything in the past and not be doing something now. And
Yeah.
and that's in all the good books I know.
Right.
You ain't you don't get no extra credit because you did something 5 years ago. And because I know there's some who were around when Dr. King was on the planet and didn't do anything. Ain't nobody pointing you out. Forgive yourself.
Yeah.
There's a, you know, for a lot of people who haven't participated in movement, don't beat yourself up.
Yeah.
We
start.
still love you.
Welcome.
When people wake up, that's the most beautiful thing. Nobody's gonna twist your arm or hit you in the mouth. So don't be down on yourself. We want you with us. We want to be
Right.
with you.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll
If I can-
grow you forward.
If I can say one thing, I think that right now, especially in our society, in the world that we're living in, people feel very overwhelmed.
Oh,
it's
sure.
like every single day
Absolutely.
there's some new catastrophe or new policy that's targeting people.
Right.
I think it's very easy for us to want to put our hands over our ears and close our eyes and pretend
Right.
it's not happening. And like you said, Jim, like we need to forgive ourselves and be able to show up when we can. And that's an
Right.
important thing that
Right.
we need to remember is showing up when we can
Exactly.
and showing up for the causes that we care about. So coming together and talking about this important, important topic, which affects everybody on the planet.
Right.
Yeah.
You make me feel really good because I often tell folks, you hear often, I probably mentioned to you already, everybody say, oh, we're standing on the shoulders of those who've gone
Right.
ahead.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And we are, but some of us who've been around need to be living shoulders, lifting y'all higher and higher.
Sure.
I believe with all my being that your generation are the bearers of the new knowledge, the new
Oh,
skills,
sure. Yes.
the new energy. You hear, you're brilliant. We got to stop treating you like you young and don't know much
Oh,
or got to
no.
find out later or that it's all for you to fix. We don't need to put a heavy load on you. We need to put a heavy shoulder under you to get you and help you to be able to stand. And we haven't done enough of that. But we're in a moment of where it's changing right before your eyes. And I would urge every young person, hey, keep hope alive and stay with it. We know, and when I say we know, I'm talking to all of my other young and old. We know that we're not in the street because we're crazy. We're in the street because we're trying to make a world that works for all of us. Because we
Right.
know this present
Right.
world doesn't.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so we don't have to feel no slack about. We don't have to be arrogant. We got to be loving, and we got to work together. And we're
Absolutely.
doing pretty well now. We could do better, but we got to work together, and we got to keep that broadness about how broad the struggle is. It really is on this whole planet.
Absolutely. and it's certainly it's so broad means it's for the whole planet and it really is for all the people. So we're all going to sink or swim together. We have the illusion that we're separate, but we're really all connected. So and all of our issues are connected. So right now, as you said, and it really is overwhelming. So we need to give each other a lot of grace that people have. We don't know what everybody's dealing with in their everyday life. So there's so many layers of stress and complication on top of our broken alert systems, which through trauma means either directly, indirectly through intergenerational trauma, or so many ways that people have broken alert systems. So shame being the subtle trauma, or or just the stress. Financial stresses, that nuclear stress, which actually people have so really successfully blocked out with the help of the media who never talks about it really. And also we have so many other things that we have, the Fourth Reich going on right now, as I like to call it, with, the fascism, clear fascism and corruption at every level and especially at the top level. But throughout our government, we see it. Throughout our governments, we have problems. And I want to say especially the warmongering and the Fear Inc. So the money goes to Fear Inc. every time. Fear Inc. being, the efforts to control, intimidate, incarcerate, or kill. So the policing, the carceral system, the jails and prisons and sheriffs, and not last but not by no means least, the most expensive and foolhardy of all, the military and all the contractors and all the and then there's all the media that sort of goes along, because all of that upper echelon of money is connected.
Yeah.
So that's what we're dealing with. However, if you believe, as I believe, that it's a spiritual struggle, then we can also say, it's back to even it was Roosevelt saying, I have nothing to fear but fear itself. So just to take our courage, and crisis equal to opportunity. So we have all this stuff going on more than ever before. I never thought we'd get in such a bad situation. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. I thought we might get in the bad situation that we're in now, and here we are. However, when things are really getting shaken up and people are sort of seeing, and some aren't, but some are, and more are, and as we build solidarity, as we build, in truth and love with each other, communicating and cooperating, we may be able to get more changes and more justice and more peace really in the world than we've had before. It's possible.
Yeah.
It
That's
will
not giving up
happen, yeah.
hope, right? Like, I think that it's hard to maintain that hope through everything that's going on, but continuing to see, like, the changes, the people just showing up
Right.
is inspirational.
Yes.
And, I think that will help us see for a better future,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And, then,
Yeah.
and people,
Absolutely.
people need to know it's our duty.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's sanctioned in the Constitution.
Right.
The
You're so
paperwork.
right. Yep.
It says whenever a government ceases to serve its people,
Right.
it says it's your duty. It don't say, oh, here's a recommendation. Oh, here's an idea. It's your duty, and they use stronger
Right.
language to
Yeah.
overturn or abolish. Ooh. Those
Yeah.
are some strong words.
Right.
And see, this is why people got to help people to understand what these words mean, because the expression can sound horrible, but all it said, look, it's your duty to get rid of those who are not serving in the best interest, in the rightness of what you need. And
Right.
and you got processes to use. One way is appealing in mass and making your petition known, hoping they will listen that way. If they don't listen that way, then the other is to do it through the electoral process, which we still have to learn how to use it in the best interest of the people and get away from those who just want to be famous but don't do nothing.
Right.
Too many people want to get in office, and they got all kind of, I'm going to say excusiology
Right.
about why they couldn't do this, and you don't never see them move. That's how Tim Kennedy is on foreign policy. He might be good on some things. See, notice I'm not saying he bad on everything. But on foreign policy, a major issue, and where so many people have lost their lives, you cannot be weak like that, Tim. And neither can our senator. And people, you cannot pretend you don't know. I'm not mad at you. I know you got to break through your ignorance. If that many people, it don't have to be that many people. If people like that was happening, being killed up like that, you want the world to stop. And here we seeing that, and we act like We don't know what to do.
And too
You talked
little,
about
too
Fear
late.
Incorporated?
Yeah.
That Fear Incorporated got people afraid because they don't want to go to jail because they hear those bad stories. You got well-meaning parents that will say to their kids who are brilliant, "No, you don't need to be out there. Don't go out there. Don't no, you shouldn't be down there. It's gonna be trouble." They forecast trouble that when we're fighting for our rights, and maybe I shouldn't say fighting, when we're standing and calling for our rights,
Right.
we shouldn't be fearful.
Right.
The one who is doing wrong should be fearful because people who know that they're doing wrong should be doing something. And those that hear us should join us. They need to stand behind us if you can't stand directly on line with us. I'm pushing this in a way because we're not doing entertainment.
No.
We're doing entertainment. So when we're talking, we want people to know we mean what we say. And not
Right.
only that, we do what we say. We don't get paid.
Right.
And we don't want to get paid. But the spirit that fills us, the call, the one that created us, that then gives us the wherewithal to do anything, is what allows us to do it. And they keep, in the Christian language, that y'all know how it go, it say, who can I send? Who can we send to stand in the gap? Who gonna stand next to the sister, to the brother, to the children?
Right.
I'm just saying, that's us people. We got to
Right.
do it.
Right.
Time to muscle up. It's the same thing
Yep.
being in an exercise
Yeah.
program. Get with us. Get with the Peace Center. You want to learn how to do this kind of work? You want to experience it and not just watch it on TV and be a helpless standby, can't do nothing, can't stand up for yourself, because what we standing up for is oppressing you too. You know that.
Thank you so much. You're so right, Jim. You're so right and so inspiring. And we're coming close to the end of the show, so I just want to give Alexica another chance too for, what's your sort of any final thoughts that you want to share about the topic or the event or just being here?
I look forward to seeing folks on the 9th at Bidwell Park. Again, we're going to be starting around 11:30 making signs, and then our actual event is going to start at 12. But it was just a pleasure to be here today and get to talk to you on this important topic and just learn from you guys. So thank you.
Well, it's so great to have you here. It's so great to have you working with us. We're so glad Fordham is, helping you to help us, to help each other, because we're all in this together. So I hope people will come out. People can bring their own signs too.
Yep.
Bring your own drums too if you want. There'll
And
be
your
a
water
little
bottle.
drumming. Oh, and the water bottle. It should be a little better though. It should be a
Yeah.
little better by then. Although there's no predicting, it's global. They can't even predict the weather anymore because of the craziness.
Yeah.
But anyway, and it's so great, Jim. You're such an inspiration.
Look at
inspiration,
you.
both of you.
I just feel you on, and I'm definitely elated because of you, Alexica, because I just get so excited as young people begin to open up, and I know as you see more and learn more, I can't wait to be one of the ones behind you, following your directions and watching you no matter what avenue you go in.
Right.
There's
Right.
and your aura precedes, it's out there. And this is
Thanks.
you.
It's so
It's great.
so important. Well, we're all needed. Every age, every stage, everyone.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say it's so great to be here with you both. I really, really appreciate all the work that you both do. And we're excited to be out there on the 9th and so many other times. So people should have a look at WNYPeace.org, look at the community calendar, see what other events are going on. But we're all in this together, and this is Talking Peace. And together we have been talking peace in truth and love.
Yeah.
It's a wrap. So thank you so much.